Welcome back to our channel where we update the latest, most shocking, and unmissable developments from the hit TV series Beyond the Gates. In the latest episode, tragedy has truly exploded, leaving a lasting haunting and threatening the future of the entire powerful Dupree family. An unimaginable accident. A terrible shock occurred after a series of persistent conflicts between the two central characters, Anita and Vernon. What happened was not just the result of a moment of anger, but the accumulation of months of inner turmoil, then exploded in the most devastating way possible. On a gloomy afternoon, the atmosphere in the Dupree family mansion became heavier than ever when Anita and Vernon broke out into an uncontrollable argument. The tension had built up from months of silence, from wounds that had never been healed, from secrets that had been kept hidden, and from harsh words that had been spoken in moments when they could no longer be held back. Anita, her heart bleeding from the feeling of betrayal and abandonment, could no longer keep her composure. She rushed out of the house as if she wanted to run away from everything, from Vernon, from the past, from all the pain that was gnawing at her mind every minute and second. It was drizzling. The drops of water hitting the car window seemed to mingle with the tears rolling down Anita's face, but she was no longer conscious enough to realize what was going on around her. All that existed in her mind at that moment was the image of Vernon, the words that broke her heart, the cold gaze he gave her like a stranger. She gripped the steering wheel tightly, but her hands were shaking. Her emotions were so overwhelming that she could no longer distinguish between reality and pain that seemed to have no way out. The car sped unconsciously on the slippery hillside road. The rain began to fall harder, darkness gradually fell, and the dim street lights could not clearly illuminate the dangerous curves. Each thunderclap sounded like a bell signaling an approaching disaster. In the split second when the wheels lost traction, Anita did not have time to brake, and the car swerved to the right, then suddenly slid off the road. The car body hit the metal guardrail, then with a terrible force, the car swerved and fell freely down the steep slope below. The sound of metal colliding echoed throughout the area, accompanied by a cloud of white smoke rising from the engine that had just been destroyed. No cries for help, no witnesses. Just the sound of wind and rain whistling through the ravine, mixed with the sound of the deformed car's dead engine. At the villa, Vernon was still panting from anger after the argument. He couldn't believe Anita would react so violently, but his anger clouded his reason and he didn't chase after her. It wasn't until the phone rang from the police and they reported an accident not far from the villa that Vernon's dark premonition really flared up. He rushed outside, his heart pounding wildly in his chest. When he arrived at the scene, the sight before him almost made him collapse. The rescue team was struggling to pry open the car door, and Anita's motionless body was trapped inside, her face covered in blood and her body no longer moving. Vernon's eyes seemed to explode. He screamed in despair, calling her name in vain as his entire face was soaked not only by the rain but also by tears of regret. At that moment, Vernon's entire world seemed to collapse. The harsh words he had uttered just a few minutes ago became a burden that weighed heavily on his soul. Nothing mattered more than whether Anita was still alive. Anita was quickly taken to the hospital in critical condition, with multiple serious injuries. In the emergency room, Vernon kept pacing, his heart filled with remorse. Everything he had ever thought was right, everything he had argued to defend his position, now became meaningless. He realized that loss could strike at any time, and when it happened, we had no chance to correct our mistakes. Their children, the Dupree family members, were quickly called in, and the waiting room became a place of intense fear, clenched fists, and eyes locked on each other, knowing that if Anita did not survive, none of them would be able to get over it. In the moment of life and death, all conflicts in the family suddenly stopped. Everyone was pulled back to the cruel reality that an incident could forever change the fate of an entire family. Vernon stood alone by the hospital corridor window, his lifeless eyes looking out at the night, where the raindrops continued to fall as if pouring down unnamed pain. He remembered every little detail of their lives, from when they met, fell in love, built a home together, until the distance grew due to misunderstandings and accumulated pain. Now, all of that was on the verge of being buried under the rubble of an accident that was caused by him. After many hours of intense surgery, the doctor came out with a calm face. Anita's life was saved, but her condition was still very critical. And she had to continue to be monitored in the intensive care unit. The news sent Vernon slumping into his chair. Both a temporary relief and the beginning of a series of days of living in fear and atonement. From that moment on, he vowed never to let Anita suffer any more pain. But would that oath have any meaning if Anita never woke up? The Dupree family began to fall into crisis. News of the accident spread quickly in the community, the media hounded and judged. And family members began to blame each other. Each person carried a part of the responsibility. Secrets that had been hidden gradually came to light as everyone tried to find out the real cause of the fateful argument. Many people began to question. Was this not simply an accident but the result of a series of conflicts that had been simmering for a long time in this powerful family? Some people speculate that there is a secret between Vernon and Anita related to past relationships, which may be the trigger that causes Anita to collapse mentally. Meanwhile, Anita's absence from family meetings makes the atmosphere even more tense. Decisions related to assets, companies, and even partnerships begin to stagnate. Some family members secretly take advantage of the chaotic times to promote personal interests. But what they did not expect was that this incident not only awakened Vernon, but also triggered a chain reaction that could not be stopped. Vernon began to dig deeper into everything that had happened between him and Anita over the past time. Facing his own mistakes and determined to make amends, no matter what the consequences were. During the days of lying motionless, Anita seemed to be floating between two worlds. There were times when her heart was so weak that it seemed like it had stopped beating, and there were times when she twitched her fingers, causing everyone to hold their breath in hope. This situation lasted long enough for each member of the Dupree family to look back at themselves. This seemingly accidental event was like a tsunami that swept away the entire perfect facade that the powerful family had built. The relationships between the members gradually cracked. Secrets were revealed, and their future became more uncertain than ever. Everything now depended on only one thing: could Anita wake up, and if she did, could she forgive? Could she continue to move forward in a life that had been buried in pain and anger, or was everything broken beyond repair? Whatever the answer, the truth cannot be changed that the accident was a fateful turning point, a rift that could not be healed, and the beginning of a new phase in the Dupree family tragedy. Will Anita wake up? If she opens her eyes, will she remember everything? And if she remembers, will her heart be able to forgive? That question remains unanswered. But one thing is certain. This accident is not just a tragedy, but the beginning of a storm that will destroy every corner of the Dupree family. A family that seemed as strong as a fortress is now falling apart from within. Brick by brick with each secret that is revealed. And the first to fall is Vernon, the one who lost everything because he could not hold on to what was truly important. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to our channel to continue updating shocking, dramatic, and unforgettable details in the next episodes of Beyond the Gates.